This week we're reviewing Haval's 2022 Jolion HEV. It's got a reasonably clever interior. It's a nice looking car on the outside. LED headlights and all of that sort of stuff. Under the bonnet, a 1.5 litre engine and a hybrid system. And it works as either a series hybrid or whatever. And the system output of 139 kilowatts is more than enough to get it moving reasonably swiftly, though, let's face it, it's no sports car, but of course, it's a $41,000 SUV. It's not meant to be a sports car. The cabin is incredibly quiet, that's the first thing. And the ride, it's reasonably good. The infotainment system is huge. I've got a heads-up display and a digital dash. I mean, you don't get that in some $60,000 cars. The instrumentation is easy to use. The menu systems are relatively simple, things where you expect them to be. And of course, overhead glass sunroof. Indicators, of course, on the wrong side, which is a bit of a bummer. But I do like the heads-up display showing just the amount of information that I need, no more, no less. Seat, fairly comfortable. Adjustable with electric buttons on the side, which we also like, don't we? Yes. And the climate control has 2 zones. I have to say that the trim in parts, now that I'm looking at it in the sunlight, looks a bit cheap. Like the stuff that's on the top of the dash is very thin vinyl, and I do wonder how that's going to fare after, let's say, 4 or 5 years of Australian suns. Surfaces are hard. The door tops are hard, the top of the dash is hard. But then I guess, as I said, for $41,000, what can you expect? I mean, it's not an Audi. The center console is nice and neatly laid out. The dial for the gears, fairly easy to use, though I'm more of a gear lever person, even if it's just a little stubby one. Then we get on to how the car performs in corners. You certainly feel the height, that is for sure. And you can feel it trying to drag itself off the center. But city traffic is where this car is going to spend most of its time. Like most SUVs, it's going to get used for school runs and doing shopping and all of that sort of stuff. Now, at the moment, I've just gone from EV mode into, no, I'm back in EV mode again. So it'll go for quite a long way on the recovered energy that it's gotten from braking and so forth, but also the engine charges the battery. So in summary, this is what the car's going to be used for. And at that, it is very good. There's no feeling in the steering. I don't care. The idea of electric power steering with feeling is a complete nonsense. There's no such thing. Everything else feels like $41,000 worth. I find it really difficult to find a problem with the Jolion hybrid. So a few things. Let's start with the things inside the car that I think are notable. There's a USB up here to plug this in if I want my Navman dash cam. If I want, I've chosen to plug it in at the 12 volt, which is down here in this little hidden compartment under the center console. But the smartest feature of this car, by far, is its automated parking. So I'm going to pull this down. Auto parking. Wants me to drive. Right. Okay. Now this is hairy, because this is supposed to be fully automated parking, and I've got to tell you, you can see it's parking between these 2 posts. And this always gives me the heebie-jeebies. Oh my God. So I did a few practice runs at this, and it's terrifying. Because it doesn't feel like it's going to stop. Oh, that's pretty successful. Right, so it's activated, it's got in, activated the park and turned the handbrake on. And you can see that's pretty spot on. I mean, it's further over one side than the other, but without any car in the back, it's gone almost exactly to the back spot. I don't know how it knew where to stop, but it did. While we're here, have a look at the back. Very, very nice indeed. I think that looks very smart. Now, you don't get that feature in some $100,000 cars. So we're talking about both the H6 hybrid and the Jolion hybrid. The Jolion is a shade under 41,000, and this, the H6, is a shade under 45,000. Drive away, no more to pay. Again, this claims to be segment leading in some parts, but I put it to you, it's segment leading, period. Not because of what it's got, not because of what either of them have, but rather because for the price, where are you going to get a large, albeit two-wheel drive SUV? You can see I've got my phone on the wireless charger, but I want to use CarPlay. So I'm going to plug it in and put it back on the tray. And now the CarPlay symbol has come up. So it's not wireless. I mean, that's not ideal, but nonetheless, I think that's still pretty good. So Great Wall Motors, GWM. Haval is one of their brands, and they've been going for a little while now. Now, in the early days, the cars were, what's the word? How's your father? They felt cheap, they looked cheap, and frankly they looked like copies. So the Ute looked a bit like a copy, a very bad copy of a Toyota Hilux. That's not the case anymore. This thing's lovely. It looks lovely, as does the Jolion. Then we go to the engines. Now the drivetrains work a little bit like a Toyota hybrid, so you'll be used to that already. It operates a little bit in EV mode. It's in EV mode now. The other interesting thing is that this is digital, all digital, plus I've got a heads-up display. And as I took off from the lights, it changed from EV mode seamlessly. So now it's capturing energy as I'm pulling up at the lights. When I put my brake on, it captures even more energy. $45,000. So I want you to keep in mind the price of the Jolion and the H6 as we go through this. So it's hybrid, $45,000, $41,000. And they both operate pretty much the same way. They're absolutely loaded to the gunnels. And I just want to nip back for a moment to the home screen. This has got the normal driving features. So the seats are heated and cooled, there's a heated steering wheel. And you can operate them both from this screen, and you can get your radio. Interestingly, this doesn't have navigation built in. None of them do, and both of these are based on the top model, the Ultra. So the Ultra has the full shebang. It's got a sunroof and God knows what else. Fancy mirror. Not a screen in the mirror, unfortunately, but it's $45,000. The trim, it's called leather, but then it's got a name which makes me think that it's synthetic leather. Doesn't matter, I don't care, I can't tell. If you pull down, you'll see that the screen that I was using for the parking is here. It's all the driver aids, including steering modes and so forth. Now that we're up to speed, I've got the speed set at 80. It's also turned on the driver aids, so the lane keeping assist and so forth. The handling is, it's okay, nothing wrong with it. So you add to that this quiet, smooth ride. Now at the moment, the petrol engine is charging the battery and it's also driving the wheels. So it's in parallel drive. And the energy monitor on the dashboard is telling me what I'm doing. I can see on the heads-up display exactly what I can see down here on the middle, which is a graphic of the highway and the lines either side, and also the cars on the side. I can see this truck, I can see the car in front of me, a little bit like a Tesla. The Jolion has 139 kilowatts, the H6 179 kilowatts. And that's plenty to go through the front wheels. It does get them chirping at lights, fairly chirping. Then we come to the interior. It's nice. The surfaces are soft. The Jolion was a little hard in places. So I can see the lights come on now. Don't know if you can see that down here. But there's this Tron pattern in red. Say recent searches. No, let's go back. Let's go save places. Rightio. Okie dokie. Now I'm starting off in battery mode. The river's quite high. This is going straight out into the bay. It's very high. Still on battery, and it'll stay on battery until it needs the boost, that 179 kilowatt boost. Now I'm in parallel drive. It's cut in to give me that little power to go up the hill. When you put your foot down, you can hear that it skidded. Now, the traction control for some reason didn't kick in, or if it did, I certainly didn't see anything on the screen. But the wheels were really scrambling for grip. Then we come to safety. Something that the early Great Wall cars, as I said before, got really lousy ratings. This got 5 stars. So did Jolion. 5 stars. If there's a couple of faults, I always like to pick things I like and don't like. The cruise control is down here on a stalk in the H6. I'd prefer that up on the steering wheel. Now this week we've done a longer trip and city duty, a couple of chores, airport run, and it's been such a pleasure. That's it. That's all this week for the HEV. For 41 grand, I don't think you can do a much better job. What do you think? As always, hit like, leave a comment, and just there to subscribe.